Let me fix that.
While the bicep initiates the flex, the forearms provide the stabilizing power. Notice the density and vascularity achieved through dedicated training. A powerful handshake requires the coordinated effort of these key forearm muscles, as you can see highlighted here in red and green.
Focus on the brachioradialis and the flexor group. As you grip the bar, visualize the muscle fibers contracting under tension. While the forearm stabilizes the grip, the pull-up is driven by the contraction of the lats and the biceps, shown here in green. This pain in the elbow is directly related to the stress on the extensor muscles, as shown in orange.
The diagram on the left illustrates the wrist extensors and the common site of tennis elbow. On the right, the flexors and golfer's elbow are shown.
If you have weak extensors or flexors, don't worry. These simple movements will guide you to recovery.
Welcome, warriors! Are you ready to optimize your training? Let's get started. But let's look closer at the difference between short and long muscle bellies and how that affects your potential. The forearm's primary functions include elbow flexion, demonstrated by the bicep curl, wrist extension and flexion, and grip strength.
This rice represents the energy required for these muscle groups to perform at their peak. We'll focus on these movements, which directly engage the forearm. See how the muscles activate upon contraction.
Execute the wrist curl by slowly lowering the dumbbell, then curling it back up, focusing on the contraction. As you perform the curl, notice the activation in the flexors. And remember, true strength comes from mastering the basics. Here we highlight the brachioradialis, which is primarily responsible for the flexion of the elbow joint. The brachioradialis muscle, highlighted here in red, is primarily responsible for the flexion of the elbow joint.
Here we illustrate the difference between a neutral grip and a pronated grip. Note the engagement of the forearm muscles in both positions.
The reverse curl targets the brachioradialis in the forearm. Keep your wrists straight and control the movement on the way down. The reverse curl targets the brachialis and brachioradialis. Curl the bar up, feeling the contraction, then slowly lower for the eccentric phase.
As she performs the curl, the brachialis is engaged. Now observe the wrist extensors in orange and the flexors in red.
As the wrist flexes downwards, the flexor muscles shown on the left contract. When the wrist extends upwards, the extensors on the right are engaged. The Baki pose perfectly illustrates the balance between aesthetic development and functional strength.
Slowly roll the wrist roller downwards. As you can see highlighted, this movement targets the wrist flexors in your forearm.
Avoid shrugging your shoulders like this during the press. It places undue strain on the joint, as highlighted in red. Keep your elbows tucked in close to your body. Feel the tension in the triceps as you lower yourself down. Focusing on the deep muscles, we highlight the flexor digitorum here and the extensor carpi, which control the hand and fingers.
As you can see, Subject W has optimized musculature, yet his current growth potential remains exceptionally low.
As the weight is lifted, the brachii contracts, highlighted here in green. The controlled descent engages the triceps, shown in red.
That's the way to activate those flexors. Keep squeezing. Consistency is everything when building real strength. Submerge your hand completely, then slowly rotate the wrist while clenching your fist tightly. This builds forearm strength and endurance.
Begin with wrist twists, then transition into a finger claw and squeeze the wrist tightly. Finish by spreading your fingers wide against the resistance.
Pay close attention to the forearm muscles, highlighted here in green as they activate, and the deep exertion shown in red. Welcome back. Today, we're looking at workout setup number 1 and number 2. Let's dive into the details. You can incorporate hand grippers or use a rice bucket. Both are excellent for targeting the forearm muscles and improving overall grip strength. Next up is the reverse curl, targeting the brachialis and forearm muscles. Keep your grip firm and the movement controlled. We recommend 2 sessions per week for beginners, increasing to 3 for intermediate and 4 for advanced training. Optimize your recovery speed and endurance with these techniques. Look at that forearm development.